DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, and Treylon Burks. Now, look, Calvin Ridley, I think, doesn't get the love that he deserves. He got that great deal from the Titans as the Jaguars were trying to finesse it so they wouldn't have to give a greater draft pick to the Falcons, and they ultimately gave him. They were waiting until the official start of free agency to re-sign him because that was the term in the trade deal. In come the Titans, and see you later, Jaguars. Calvin Ridley's jumping teams in the division. But, I mean, the guy he got started with Andre Johnson, for crying out loud. So, I mean, Andre Johnson, it's kind of, I don't see Andre Johnson's name on the Titans depth chart.
No, I mean, listen, I think it's a group that has potential. I think that's what you look at, right? I mean, Hopkins was really phenomenal last year. For his age and where he's at in his career, I mean, he surprised me. He really did. And he's obviously still got some gas left in the tank. And we know he's got a great instincts on how to play, and he's got great hands and all of that. Ridley, I think you're right about Ridley. Let's just not forget. I mean, Ridley probably left 400 yards on the field last year with drops and stuff, right? It was his first year back, right? It's not exactly easy just to, hey, I'm back in the NFL, let me take over again. I think you'll see a jump from Calvin Ridley as well. And then the big thing is just, okay, Hopkins, Ridley, we know we're going to get pretty good out of that group. Who's going to be that other guy? I know Tyler Boyd can be that underneath, like, hey, dependable guy, but can a Treylon Burks kind of take them over the edge? Can he finally become maybe what they thought he could be? And then all of a sudden we go, whoa, like the Titans have a legit three-headed monster here at receiver, with Hopkins, Burks, and Ridley. That's where I think the potential could be exciting, especially with Will Levis, who's got a big, strong right arm and wants to throw the ball down the field and make explosive plays.
Okay, this is something we do from time to time. Top third, middle third, bottom third. This Titans receiver group, where do we project them landing this year overall? And again, it's Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I look at it, right, I'm going to say probably middle tier is just like, again, without dissecting this too deeply here and this just coming off the top of your head and me asking, that's kind of my overall thought, right? I think there's maybe potential to be in that top tier, but I think as I look at it and I look at all teams in football, yeah, I probably feel like it's more of the middle tier part of the group. And a little part of that is because, like, hey, Hopkins is a year older. Treylon Burks, will he work out? I don't know. Those are things that are unknown.
Part of it also, who's throwing the football. Will Levis
right.
in year two. How close is he going to be to his ceiling? We did a draft on Friday when you were in your hammock with your pina colada and your bong.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Which quarterbacks are most in danger of being benched during the season. And Shereen Williams put Will Levis on notice that maybe Mason Rudolph could end up taking his job the way Mason Rudolph took Kenny Pickett's job last year. I don't know about that, but we got to see what Levis can do, and that'll be a factor. So I'll go middle third as well for you. We're going to pivot now to the Eagles' secondary before we get specific as to where we think they're going to be. Let's hear from veteran cornerback Darius Slay on the criticism that new coordinator Vic Fangio is getting from the guys in Miami that he coached for the past couple of years. Here it is.
I think he's a guy that just go build a team up, coming here with great energy. He's been a guy that's been in the room with a lot of great vets. And so, you got a team full of vets that's been on a lot of coaches. And I think not one time, since I've been here as an Eagle, somebody had something bad and negative to say about a DC, because we always, go hard for him. It doesn't matter who it is because we want to win. So I don't know what that happened over there, but from my point of view over here, it's just, he's a great dude. I've been hearing nothing but great things about him because I used to watch Akeem Talib and all them guys and corners that played under his system, and they always talk, highly on him.
First of all, it was just 1 year with the Dolphins. I knew I was misspeaking as the words were coming out.
Yeah, he was with the Eagles the year before, helping them, right?
1 year. He was a consultant. Right. And if the Cardinals hadn't tampered with Jonathan Gannon and if the Eagles had known what was going on, it might very well have been that Fangio had become the coordinator there, but he had given his word to the Dolphins, and he honored his word, and it didn't work out after 1 year. So, and Slay, I think, is an interesting voice in this because we know what happened with him and Matt Patricia in Detroit. Now, I think Patricia specifically targeted Slay as kind of like, I'm going to show them who's in charge, and he went after Slay, and Slay didn't want to have any of that. Slay ended up going to Philadelphia via trade. He didn't want to play for Matt Patricia. So at least we know that Slay is going to keep it real when it comes to issues with coaches, and he seems to be giving us his straight assessment of where Fangio is.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've never heard people talk like negatively about Vic Fangio until this year with the Dolphins. I really haven't. Obviously there was a disconnect there or something that he was preaching or his attitude that the players down there in Miami did not like. Now they have some personalities, we know there too. So, but I don't know what to make of that. Vic Fangio, no question, been one of the best defensive minds in football over the last 20 years. And yes, as a Giants fan, I sit here and go, damn, the Eagles have not only that team, but now they got Vic Fangio and everything they do there, right? And all the special defenses he's had throughout his career. So, I don't know. There's a little bit of an old school approach. He can be a little bit of a older, grumpy Italian like yourself at times. It can be like that, but that's the way football coaches are. That's how I grew up. Yeah, see how they got you off that screen before you could get that itch
that was
there?
quick.
That was good job. Way
Boom.
to go.
Quick on the button.
But, yeah, I think there's an old school nature to him that, maybe doesn't fly with all the young guys at times now.
Well, and I think that the problem is the contrast with Coach Chill and Mike McDaniel.
I hear that too.
Who isn't affected by anything, and then the defensive coordinator's a hard ass. I think it's more glaring when the coach is setting one tone and the defensive coordinator is like, go run through that wall or else. And I'm not saying that. That was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah,
but just an old school mentality, doing bear crawls and, all the, just whatever, like go out there and beat the hell out of the guys when the head coach is the exact opposite of that. But as you would say last year, and we're watching very carefully this year, the Dolphins kind of need a little bit of that if they want to get over the hump. They need a little of that edge. They need a little of that element that may be lacking in some of these games on the road, games in the cold, games when where's that team that we're used to seeing at home?
I'm sure that's part of what frustrated Vic Fangio. I'm sure. I mean, he's used to being, whether it's back to the old days with your Vikings or whatever, like, we're old school. We beat you up. We're physical. That's what we do. We win those type of games. And, yeah, they weren't able to do that, and obviously the message was not, translating to some of those players down there, and they didn't like that. But, damn, I know he's a damn good coach, and when he gets his defense greased up and ready to go, there is nobody in football as good at playing zones and having people pass them off and everybody, it's like, wait, is this zone? Holy cow, they're all over everything. He's extremely creative and smart in how he coaches ball, and, yeah, I just can't imagine that Eagles defense won't be much, much better this year.
Okay, the secondary specifically, because that seemed to be the weakness last year. They've added Toledo's Quinyon Mitchell in round 1, a guy that you really liked coming out of the draft. Cooper DeJean fell to round 2. They got him out of Iowa. They have C.J. Gardner-Johnson back after a 1-year respite in Detroit. We mentioned Slay, Reed Blankenship, Avonte Maddox, James Bradbury. Where's that secondary going to be? Top third, middle third, bottom third?
Top third. I'm going to put it in the top third. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell's a guy that I expect is going to come into the league and be like top notch right away. And I don't think it's going to be much different with Cooper DeJean. So I look at those two right off the bat. And then to me, the thing that ties it all together, because we know Darius Slay's still good. Bradbury didn't have a great year. They brought back Reed Blankenship. But the major tie it together attitude, no nonsense, Vic Fangio type of guy, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I mean, if you ask me one difference between their defense the year they went to the Super Bowl and last year was C.J. Gardner-Johnson was the enforcer, the attitude guy, the guy that gave their defense a little swagger and got in people's faces and were like, yeah, we're here, we're the Eagles. And they didn't have that last year. So that's where I think between Fangio, some of the new talent they got, and then a guy that's a locker room on the field, gets everybody and gets their ass going a little bit, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I think the Eagles are going to be a handful.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.